Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is now time for the best real estate podcast online. It is time for Lakeway Area Real Estate Talk Live with Mike and Dave Elkins, presented by Elite Realty Group.
But here's what we're going to talk about today. Some good stuff we're going to talk about today. Some really good information we're going to roll out here. Here's what the show is today. We're going to talk about which comes first. Because we always get asked this a lot.
A ton, yeah.
Yeah, just a ton. What should I do? How should I do this? So we're going to talk about which comes first today. Should I sell or should I buy? What is the best thing for me to do? What should come first? You're the realtor. You're the professional. Yeah. You should be able to give me this information. What have you seen? So on and so forth. Now, before we get into that, here's our disclaimer. This is just simply our opinions, right?
We're just going to tell you kind of pros and cons of both.
Yeah. We're going to give you some pros and cons of each approach. I will tell you this going into it, and I'll probably tell you this again before that we quit talking about which comes first, selling or buying. It is totally 100% up to your situation, right, what should be done, when, and how it should be done.
Right.
There is not like a just blanket answer we can give that's going to cover each and every person's needs, because each person has different needs in their home buying cycle, in their life, in their what all they need. They have they're at different places, so they have different things. So we're going to again give you our opinions. This is no kind of legal advice.
And again, that's why I refer to it as the chicken or the egg.
That's right.
I mean, you can argue that either way.
And we're going to give you the pros and cons today, and talk just a little bit about both of those first. So which comes first? What do you guys think? Which comes first? Should you sell your home first, or should you purchase a home first and then sell your home? We're going to talk to you first about the pros and cons if you're in the sell first camp, all right? There's pros and cons to both of those. So I'll give the pros. Okay. How about that?
Okay.
You give the cons. So here's the pros of selling first. Let's talk about each and every one of them. One of the pros to selling your home first is you're going to have cash for your down payment, should you need that, right?
Right.
Now, there's a hint to you. That may be a change that's coming, right?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't have to, or actually right now, we've got 0%, no money down loans that are available if you qualify through your lender. That could be changing soon.
That could be changing.
So one of the pros to selling your house first is you're going to know exactly what you've got, especially if you just sold your house, right? You're going to know exactly what you have as far as your down payment, as far as the money you're going to be using with, maybe the money you're going to be doing some remodeling with. You're going to use, again, you're going to be able to have that information right there, and you're going to know that in front of you. So that's one of the pros. If you sell first, you got the cash from the other side.
You got a little money on your hands.
You got the money on your hands. Don't spend that money on other stuff, right? Keep it for your house, for your down payment, or maybe for the remodel or the furniture or whatever you're going to be doing for that house. Keep that cash. But if you sell first, you're going to have that cash to be able to do what you want to do. The second thing is, and this is a big one, this is the one people get scared of, all right?
Yeah.
By selling first, you're not going to be under any risk of juggling two mortgages.
Right.
The one thing most people do not want to have is two mortgage payments.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing we hear there. There's no way I can buy because I can't afford two house payments.
That's exactly
I get that.
I totally get it. Most people, again, when you purchase your house, I do this, and most people do this, you set your mortgage payment to what you're comfortable affording.
Right.
Throw two of those in the mix, and there could be some trouble there, right? So, again, if you sell your house first, that first mortgage is totally gone away.
Right.
So you're not going to have to worry about juggling that, getting stuck, paying those two mortgage payments, or having to try to do this or do that, trying to maybe get a renter in and find this.
Right.
They tear your house up. You don't have to worry about that by selling first.
And just to say this, we're just talking pros and cons, but we could go down that road.
Oh, yeah.
You might not have to make those payments. There is loans and stuff like that. But again, that's above our pay grade.
Yes.
What I like to tell people, that's lender stuff.
That's right.
We can direct you to people, but that's not
something that we're going to give you the advice.
But there is stuff available. Is what I'm saying.
And again, keep in mind, each person's financial situation, credit situation,
is totally different.
Monthly payment situation, that's going to vary from person to person. We're just giving you the blanket coverage of the pros and the cons of day, which comes first. Right. Do I sell first? Do I buy first? So when we get asked this question, this is generally how the answers go when we do this. So the first one is you're going to have cash for your down payment if you sell first, right? You're not going to have to juggle the mortgage. The third one is that I have is there's no pressure for you to lower your price and sell the house quickly. Here's what we see sometimes that happens when people do, go ahead and do that buy first. And it probably is going to be on the list here soon. But you go ahead and buy the house first. And because that second mortgage payment is coming, and you know it's coming, and you don't want to be in that situation, you will cut the bottom out of your house.
Right.
You will suffer a whole lot of what you could have probably gained from your equity financially and so on and so forth. You would probably suffer and cut that out very quick. And again, so if you sell first, there's no pressure for you to do that. Right? You've already sold. Right. You're not going to have to be going back to the last answer, juggling those two mortgages, but more than that, cutting the equity that you'd build up in your home that's going to be something, again, that you're probably going to use to do something else in your life. You're not going to have to cut that. So again, we're talking about today, which comes first? Do I sell first or do I buy first? We gave you the pros of selling first, all right? You could be in either camp. Remember, we said if you've just joined us, we have said there's no right answer for
chicken or the egg.
Chicken or the egg. That's what it is. So we've gave you the pros. Now we're going to talk about selling first, the cons, the negatives to doing that. So what do you think?
Right.
So what do you think about the cons of selling first? There are two of them.
Yeah, okay. So the cons is you may need to move twice.
Okay.
Now, if you're like me, I hate moving once.
Who likes moving?
Right. Yeah. I think some people like it.
Well, I agree with that.
I really do think some people like it.
I think we know some of them.
Yeah.
Siobhan knows some of them.
Yeah. So, so you may need to move twice. That's something that you got to think about. Either you're going to have to move maybe into a rental house.
Yes.
You're going to have to move into a friend's or a family's house. Now, you know how that can go.
Put your stuff in storage.
You got to put your stuff in storage. You might have to go stay with a family member.
Yes.
And that,
could go good.
If you can't find something, then who's to say how long you're going to have to stay at a family member's house?
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Because again, we're talking about today, we know you guys have heard us talk about for 16 weeks now, we're in a very active market. Right. All right. So, it's one of them things, it goes fast. Mm-hmm. And, so again, the whole moving twice thing, I know for me personally, if I'd have to pack up and move twice, it wouldn't be good. It just wouldn't be a good thing. Because again, and most people do, we accumulate so many things in our home.
Right.
So again, that whole moving twice thing.
I think you'd have to just go get a storage building.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no way I would want to move into a rental house. But again, that's
each and every person, remember, is going to be different.
Right.
It's going to fit into what you think and what works for you. We're just giving you the pros and cons.
Right. Exactly.
So what's another one?
All right, so it puts pressure on you to find the house quickly.
True.
You got to be ready and raring to go look. You got to be after.
Well, here's how this typically happens, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but usually you get a contract on your house, right? You're going to sell it. You get a contract on your house. You got 30 to 45 days, assuming it's not a cash offer. Cash offer, you got 2 weeks most of the time, right? Sometimes more than that. But again, we're going typical averages. You got 30 to 45 days to get out of that house because the new people is wanting it.
Right.
Now, if you got 30 to 45 days to get out and you don't know where you're going to go, big problem. You're going to have a lot of pressure that you may end up going out and settling for something that you really didn't want.
Right.
If you've made the choice to sell your house, the chances are you probably know, and people probably know what they're going to be looking for in their next home, and they're moving it maybe for space. They may be moving it for a child to get in a school district. Right. They may be moving for a job. But again, if you got to sell fast, you ain't got no time to be picky and thinking and all these contingencies and so on and so forth. It can sometimes put you in a really bad spot.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. I've heard that before so many times is that, people's had the house and they've had it for anywhere from 8 months to a year, and they're trying to sell it.
Yes.
And you're like, why so fast?
Yes.
And they're like, our last house, we got it sold. We put it on the market. It sold so fast, and we just had to go somewhere.
Had to grab something.
We just had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So they grabbed the house, and come find out it wasn't what they wanted.
And again, sometimes that can work out for you.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can get you in some really bad situations.
Yeah.
Also. So again, you want to put yourself in the best scenario that you're going to be able to do what's best for you and your family. So here's what we're talking about. We're talking about which comes first, selling or buying. What should I do first? We've already talked about the pros and the cons of you selling first. Now we're going to talk about the pros and cons of you buying first, all right? So we talked about selling first. Now we're talking about, here's the pros and cons. I'll do the pros, you do the cons. How's that? Here we go. Buying first. Pros to buying first. A while ago we talked about you're going to have to move twice. That's a con, right? Selling first. So a pro to buying first is you only going to have to move one time.
That's right. You know where you're going.
You know where you're going. You've took the time, the opportunity to get the house that you want, and you're only going to have to pack and unpack one time.
That's right.
That is huge, especially depending on, are you paying for someone to move you?
Right.
Are you having to have the wear and tear on your own self to do this, which is what I would be doing, carrying boxes all over the place, packing all up with the help of my family, of course, but only having to move once, that's a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that is a big time pro of buying first. You know where you're going. Anything to add to that?
No.
All right. So the second thing is, pro to buying first, is there's no pressure for you to pick a house, as I talked about earlier, that you don't exactly want. You have been able to take the time and find the dream home for you, right?
Yeah.
You're able to find exactly what fits into your and your family's needs, school district, workplace, all of that stuff. You're able to find those things again for you and your family, and that fits.
Right. You got to take
major.
your time and go pick out what you want.
That's major because, again,
no rush.
I've said this before, you're going to be paying this probably over the next 15 to 30 years. You're going to be spending your hard-earned money paying for this. You probably need to like what you're buying.
Right.
It probably needs to fit into your family's budgets and areas and all of that stuff. It probably needs to fit in there pretty good. So, again, there's the pros to buy them first. Now, I'm sure there's more to both of these. This is just some things that we've thought up off the top of our head. So let's go cons to buying first.
Cons to buying.
You're up first.
Cons to buying first. Okay, so the first one is now you're going to feel pressure to have to sell fast.
I agree.
So quick.
Yep.
Once you find the one you want,
yes.
then you're like, the money, I got to get rid of this thing before I can buy that one.
Yeah, I got to go.
So that's a problem.
Again, as we talked about earlier, there's where you lose money on the price. You're cutting, man. You're cutting fast.
Yeah.
Because, again, you don't want to do anything about those mortgage payments and so on and so forth. So, again, that's pressure. I mean, that's pressure for you to get that done. That's a con for that. Who wants the pressure of moving your family, moving your stuff, moving your people, moving your social network of people to another place, and again have the pressure also of, oh my goodness, I've got another home here I got to do something with.
Right.
That's pressure. So again, that's a con to buying first, all right? So again, what's another one?
So financing can be hard to find and expensive.
Well, just like now, all right, let's talk about right now. We know there's some changes coming down the pike in how lending's done right here in our area.
Right.
Some programs that are available now may not be available a month from now.
Right.
So again, should that change? Should interest rates change? Should this change? It's a con, again, from having to wait around to do those kind of things.
Right.
Because, again, you're out of the market. It can be harder to find, but again, when you got to do something, there's no choices for you.
Right.
So you got to get those things done. So again, that's what we talked about today. The pros and the cons, and the question is, which comes first, right? Should I buy or should I sell first? We've talked about the pros and the cons of both of those. You guys have been watching, you've been paying attention.
Let's throw one more thing in here about the whole thing. I think we've said this in a previous show, but there is things called contingencies.
There you go.
That
helps it as a note somewhere.
Yeah, that helps these tremendously. If you're selling, you can make it contingent upon you finding your next house. If you're buying, you can make it contingent upon you selling your house.
That's right.
So there is contingencies to help.
We can work around some of that stuff. We will.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We can work around some of that and definitely will. These are just, again, out and out pros and cons of selling. And we get this question as much as we get anything. You know, hey, I don't want to list because I don't want to sell because I want to do this
It's
first.
a big one.
I don't
It calls all the time.
one.
Hey, I'm looking for a house, but I got to sell mine first. Which one should I do?
That's right. That's right. So again, pros and cons of selling first, buying first. Each and every person has a unique opportunity all to themselves. But here's the good thing. Get you a good local real estate agent and allow them to walk you through the process of what would best fit you and your family. Talk to your financial people, your mortgage people, your lenders, your banks, and they're going to all be able to come down and set a plan up for you that's tailor-made to exactly that fits your situation and be able to walk you through this process seamlessly to make sure that you get that done.
We thank each and every one of you for listening to today's podcast. Tune in for future episodes by subscribing to our channel and get the latest and greatest real estate information right here on Lakeway Area Real Estate Talk Live, presented by Elite Realty Group. Until next time, have a great and blessed day.